What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the Money Class, and as always, we're going to be talking about money. Today is all about real estate, and if you peeped the title of this video, yes, I'm getting ready to really lay it down as far as all these myths regarding real estate. Real estate ain't going to make you rich. That's right, I said it. Real estate ain't going to make you rich. At least not the way a lot of people think it's going to make you rich. I did a video not too far back called Single Family Homes Are a Bad Rental and Are a Bad Investment. And I was not kidding. A lot of people think that they can go and start getting single family homes and they're going to make it big in real estate and make all this money, when in most cases you end up with a lot of aggravation, maybe a little bit of money, and long term you be wishing that you had done something else. The way that you can make a lot of money in real estate investing is probably with larger multi-family buildings. All of your issues are in one place, way more cash flow coming out of one source, and usually more back-end profit whenever you get ready to sell it, hopefully years and years down the line after you've done a lot of cash flowing from it. The reason why single family homes and maybe smaller stuff like 2 flats just don't really work, well, it's a couple reasons. It's quite a few reasons. I'm only going to touch on a few. One is, if the place is vacant, if you have a few months of vacancy with a single family home that you were using as a rental, you may have just lost your profit for the entire year. And the reason why is because many people that buy single family homes as real estate investments, they're not paying cash for these places. They are financing them, and they're financing them by, using little backdoor channels to maybe get an FHA loan or a investor owner occupied loan, where they lie to the bank basically and say that they're going to live in the property, but they actually rent it out, and they end up only putting down like 3.5% for FHA, or maybe 5 or 10% for owner-occupied conventional loan. So basically, you got all this debt. So let's just use some quick numbers. Let's say you bought the home for $250,000. Let's say that the mortgage is, let's just say it's $2,200 a month, including taxes and insurance, and you're getting like maybe $2,800 a month in rent. So on the surface, that looks like a $600 per month profit. But most municipalities, the tenants don't usually pay the water bill. But let's just say it's a perfect world, the tenant's paying the water bill. Well, you still got maintenance, requirements involved. Okay, you got maintenance requirements involved. You got $2,200 that you got to come up with every month for, debt service for the mortgage, insurance, taxes, and then you're only getting $2,800 in rent. So if you have a couple big repairs throughout the course of the year, could easily completely wipe away your whole year's worth of profit. If you have a tenant move and it takes you a few months to get it re-rented, you're still paying that mortgage debt service, that principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and maybe a security system. Now your place is vacant. It could easily wipe out your full year's worth of projected profit. If you have a tenant that doesn't pay, and you live somewhere that has very crappy landlord-tenant laws, like where I live, where the landlord-tenant laws are really crappy and they very much favor the tenant, by the time you get them out 2, 3, 4, 5 months later with no rent being paid, you could easily be out of an entire year or more worth of projected profit. In essence, guys, it just ain't worth your time. You will sit here and you will buy this place. If you put only 3%, 5% down, you hardly have any equity. And then as soon as you get a little bit of equity, you try to borrow a little bit of money from that one to go buy the next one. You basically have a bunch of very, very low performing cash flow machines that don't even have a lot of equity. And when you get ready to sell them, if there's tenants in them, they become harder to sell. because tenants may not be cooperative to allow you to show it. Investors aren't going to want to pay full market value for something with tenants in it. You won't be able to spruce it up. So if your tenant is a junky, untidy tenant, they don't keep a nice place, it's not going to show very well. It's just so many things that could go wrong when you're trying to use single family homes as a base of real estate investing. It's just not a good move in most instances. The only caveat I would throw with that is if you're in maybe a rural area where that is the base of real estate housing is homes, and there aren't like very many apartment buildings, maybe, just maybe, it might work in a setting like that. But overall, I just think it's a bad move. I don't see it working for many people. For many people, it does not work. It ends up going exactly the opposite of what they thought, and they just end up being taught a really, really expensive lesson. And there's no need for you to go through all that. If you do want to make money and actually, quote unquote, get rich off real estate, first thing you got to realize is, for most people, real estate is get rich slow. It's not get rich quick. You're going to need a real down payment, not 3% down, and you're going to need to buy something that's going to cash flow in a way that actually makes a difference in your life. You're going to use it for the tax benefits. If you're able to leverage a bigger property to get another bigger property to where now you've built a portfolio of 20, 30, 60, 80 units across a couple, maybe 3-4 buildings, now you got something that can create some real generational wealth. But of course, that's easier said than done. And I'll do some videos coming up on how to maybe go about acquiring your first kind of decent size apartment building, as opposed to dealing with single family homes and all the ills that can come with it, like vacancy, tenants that don't pay, so you ended up in evictions and not getting rent, stuff like unforeseen repairs that can be massive and just wipe out your profit for months and months and months, or even years, depending on how big the repairs are. You just don't want to go that route. So I'll do an upcoming video where I talk about a few different ways that you can actually acquire an apartment building as opposed to dealing with single family homes. Because again, they ain't going to make you rich. I'm telling you, it's going to be a very, very aggravating lesson that will leave you with very little financial compensation, but you definitely will have learned your lesson that wasn't the route to go. So that's all I got on this one. I had to make that video because people are out here thinking that they can go out and buy a few raggedy houses and get rich in real estate. And I'm telling you, it hardly ever happens. So that's it on this one, guys. Make sure you subscribe, like, share, show me some love on this video so we can keep this thing moving. And I'll be back soon. But until then, class is dismissed.